Okay, we
Alright.
are live. Just a
Hi.
minute behind. Hey, everybody. For those of you
Hello.
tuning in now or later, welcome to Lit Bitches. We're back. I am Amanda, the author, your host, and as always, with me are my girls, Katrina and Kyla. How are y'all?
Hi.
Doing good, girl. Happy Sunday. We are here. We are back. How you feeling?
This is the
I
first sip of
I'm
coffee, so I'm
caffeinated,
about to
so
feel
I'm
really
great.
good. What did you say, Kyla?
Same. I said I'm caffeinated
Cheers.
now, so I am great as well. Mm-hmm.
Let's move this in here.
It's been a while.
Cheers. Well, it has. So how have y'all been? Because it's been, I think our last episode was in February
Yeah,
or
Yeah. Yeah, I
something.
think so. Yeah.
it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. So yeah, let's catch up the viewers with how everybody's doing. Uh, Katrina, why don't you go first?
I've been doing pretty good. Just trying to wrap things up with this wedding. I'm getting married in like 20 days. So that's been exciting. Finishing up Heavy's The Head Kingdom Come. I have a cover release coming out May 17th. I'm gonna do the cover release, so that's gonna be fun too. And yeah, just trying to get everything together because I'm hopefully gonna release Heavy as the Head Kingdom Come this year. Playing around with some dates. Yeah, so that's yeah, so all good things. Things that are taking me longer than I anticipated, but it is all good.
And it happens. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like maybe it's not the timing that you think, but it ends up being the right time. So
Right.
I think that's probably what's going to happen. What about you, Kyla?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that with the timing thing because for me, I have not been moving at the pace that I wanted to be moving, but I'm like, it's gonna work out when it's meant to work out. I just wanted to say that I love the title of this episode because that has been, I know it's about the 1st of May, but that's been me for like the past few weeks, just Mayday, like someone send help. Like I'm just here trying to balance work and my fiction writing. So that's what I've been up to.
That's like my favorite line. I'm always telling people, I'm like, hashtag send help.
Right. Yeah, I thought I was really trying to think of a title 40 minutes ago, honestly. And I thought, oh, well, it's the 1st of May, May Day, but also May Day, we need help because all of us are kind
Right.
of at different, I'm going to say, struggle points in our works right now. Um, this is what happens when I don't have coffee first. I get all phlegmy. Uh, as for me, so I had to step away from my rewrites to work on a short story for an anthology called Kindred Kingdom, which is going to
Hmm.
be out in August. I'm doing it with Diverse Books with Magic, and the story was really hard for me to write because it's epic, and I
Hmm.
write contemporary or urban fantasy, as some people still
Hmm.
say. So it was just hard because I'm like creating this new world and having to figure out how I wanted it to be. It was inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So do I want it to be Victorian? Do I want it to be modern? And so that was just a little hard for me. But now I'm
Hmm.
back and I have a month to finish rewriting most of my book. So that's where I'm at.
You have a lot of
How about
time, so
y'all?
do not stress over that part. I'm excited about the anthology because that sounds literally freaking amazing. Like I
Yeah.
get like being outside of your comfort zone, but it's probably grown you as a writer, so it all worked out.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would
sure
say
your
so.
story is gonna be great.
I think so. And I feel like it's another thing that I can expand down the line if I
Right.
decide to.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. And oh, okay, just shared in my stories. Oof. Okay. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. I feel like this camera is the
I
angle.
know I've been playing with my
I
ankle. I'm like trying to get it right.
feel like I'm like that 80s portrait where I'm just looking off to the side. And I'm just anyway, so how we
Trying to
um
catch the light.
I know. And then we need another version of me. I'm looking up this way, and another version of me doing it. I feel like, did any of y'all's families have those photos? Because I know my brother did, and I will dig them up and use them as blackmail one day because they are hilarious.
Wait, say that again.
Really?
Did y'all, anybody in your family ever get photos like that? It was the very 80s kind of thing.
I think
Sort of.
I have to go digging through the family albums to see.
There are definitely some embarrassing ones of me that I would rather not like show people. My mom's like, "You look so cute." Just like, no, I don't. But okay, I'm a rock. I'm a rock with it. You can keep it. Just don't show nobody else.
That's funny. Yeah, the most embarrassing family photo that I have, I've owned it because in the photo I'm making my I hate people face. And so, but it's embarrassing because my sister was trying to do braids on me, so the whole back part of my hair is in braids with
Oh,
rubber band, like professional, like
uh-huh.
office rubber bands, okay? So that tan rubber band at the end. And then I had bangs. Don't know why they decided to cut bangs. From like I was 5, so from 5 years old, this part of my hair has been a struggle because it's been straightened and banged. And so the bangs are like grown out and they're parted. And then I had these huge soap bottle glasses or Coke bottle glasses. They're huge. And then I'm just sitting there and they said, be serious. So I'm just like in the photo. And my brother randomly posted it to Facebook one day because it's me and all my sisters. And he's like, I
Mhm.
love my sisters. I love you. And we were just like, the
Oh,
fuck? Why would you think that that was okay? But
that
now
sounds embarrassing, but that also sounds really cute, Amanda.
I own
I don't
that
know if I can
photo.
believe you.
I use that photo. I've posted it before because it's so quintessentially me. Not the fucked up hair part, but just the look on my face of just, I'm not amused. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm not here for it. Whatever.
Right.
So I've reclaimed it.
That's sweet. It doesn't really sound embarrassing at all, but maybe besides the office rubber band.
Yo,
That's
and the
cute
bangs
though. It's
too.
cute.
This is like before we started doing, curly hair, so everything had
Hmm.
to be straight and everything had to be using iron to straighten your hair even. And so
Yes.
this was like back then when the curls just weren't popping. I might recreate the style if I ever grow my hair out long, but actually do it the right way with curly.
Mine was I didn't even have like accessories and stuff. I just had like this really early 2000s outfit. I forget, was it, did I have like a sequence like shirt at the bottom? And I think it had like a cat on it. And I had just got my hair done, like the Dominican blowout style, but it was curly. I don't know why I
Right.
posed this way. I had to be like 10 maybe, but I'm like up against the wall, like the denim skirt with the torn is torn at the bottom, and it it's just not. It's a very embarrassing photo. My mom has it, and like, cause they have like this picture frame that carousels photos, and every time I see it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, can you please take this photo down? I'm just like with the curls and the very like 2001 outfit.
From the way you describe it, it sounds like you were feeling your fantasy, like like if they're
Mhm.
posing.
I guess maybe that's where I was, but the pose, the it's mm-mm.
That definitely sounds like feeling your fantasy vibes.
Mhm. Mhm.
They should have stopped me then.
What
I
about
don't
you,
even. I
Kyla?
don't remember. I don't think I have any embarrassing photos of myself that come to mind. All of my embarrassing photos are from adulthood, honestly. Like my childhood photos, the ones that I remember are they're pretty cute. Just me doing Kyla shenanigans. I haven't looked at past photos in a while though. Like I need to take a trip down memory lane. When you just like sit down with the photo album and then you just kind of get
Yeah.
lost in it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I need to do one of those.
That's funny. Oh man, one of those photos. So, are you excited about the photos you're gonna take on your wedding day? Ooh, sorry, I sound like Groucho Marx over here.
No, you are fine. I know it's very early for you right now. Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, I just needed to be here. I wish it was tomorrow. Like,
Mm.
people were asking me, like, oh my gosh, what are you most looking forward to? And I'm excited about the wedding and all that stuff and getting married to my best friend, but I am most excited for the day after. I need this wedding to be done now. I feel like it's taking forever. Like, just May 20th, let's go. I'm gonna be running down the aisle.
Right. I I I have been exactly where you are.
Yeah. People are like, are you gonna have a bridal shower, a bachelor? I'm like, look, I just want to get married at this point. Like, I just want to be like done chilling, not having to pay any more of these like bills for the actual day. This one day, these what is it, like 7 hours or whatever the hell the time is. Then that's it. Then it's done, and I cannot wait until the clock strikes midnight and I'm married and it is over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're probably gonna be so tired the day of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I,
It's gonna
I
be
I have
great.
to I have to figure out how I'm gonna get through because I know I'm gonna be sleepy because I'm getting my hair done the day before because I don't want to ride around and all that stuff the day of. So I'm probably be sleep like this so my hair doesn't mess up, and so I probably won't get that much sleep because I'll be worried about my hair. So yeah, no, I'll probably be very tired the day of.
So 20 days. So are you slowing down on your writerly projects right now to make space mentally and
Mhm.
energy wise for your wedding stuff, or how is that working out for you?
Yeah, so I've been trying to like get all my like writerly deadlines up to like I'm trying to get myself to like this week to finish some things up. Um, so I can have May kind of like to decompress and get creative again and not have to like stress about deadlines, things like that. So that way when I get because Heavy as the Head is going to a developmental editor
Mm.
Monday. So that'll be just like it'll be out of my hands. Take your time. I'm like, you give it back to me May 31st, like it is fine. But she'll probably give it to me in like 2 or 3 weeks. But I'll take that time to just decompress, relax, get some actual reading done because I haven't been reading anything because I've been like focused on all like these writer deadlines, things like that. So just it's been definitely a challenge trying to balance both like and working like my regular job on top of that. But I've been doing okay. I've been trying to just take it easy. Like with my developmental edit, I know like so going into Heavy's the Head, Love and War, the first one, I was very like it has to be perfect when it goes to the editor. It has to be this. I'm like it was a developmental edit. It is not perfect. She gonna tell me whether or not the structure is good, and then when I get it back, that's when I'll fix it up, jazz it up, all that good stuff. Like I'm trying to just like not freak out like I did the first time around. I'm like she gonna get it the way it is. It is not perfect. Just make sure I'm following the outline and the structure of what a story is supposed to be, and we are good.
Right. That part. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think we can get so caught up in our heads when we go to send something to an editor,
Hmm.
and just feel like it I have to make this the best it's gonna be. And of course you want to do as much as possible. I have been guilty of leaving those tags, the insert spell here,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then realized after the fact and had to go and rewrite that. But I think if you're sending it as best you can, you'll be fine. And I have no doubt this book is going to be fire. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited.
really
Yeah.
excited.
I just the first copy, my copy of the first book just came in the mail, so I'm so excited to read it. Like I got that and I got your second book, Amanda, and I have the full Lit Bitches collection now, so I'm super happy.
Like Bitches Collection, listen, y'all, we need to do something, some kind of book
Yeah.
box or something. But maybe when
Yeah.
Land of the Gods comes out, we'll
Yes.
We'll do a
Yes. Just
whole
give me some
fantasy
time.
one.
Yes. Land of the Gods. How is that going, Kyla?
Like I put it on pause for a while because there
Hmm.
was a point last month where like I just had 2 weeks where I was just super busy with work. And sometimes when like work gets in the way, your creativity just kind of goes
Yeah.
away. But this
Hmm.
week, my creativity is finally coming back to me, and I just like dove back into that and my other book that I'm working on, Brian and the River Nymph. So I'm just
Hmm.
kind of taking my time and getting the work out. But right now, it's being written in my head. That's what's happening right now, mostly. And sometimes I beat myself up about it, but I'm like, you know, I have time. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So,
Right.
but I'm really really hoping to finish 2 drafts. Finish the second draft by like late this year. That's what I'm hoping.
You
So,
could do it. You could do
You
it. You'll do it.
absolutely
It'll
can.
get done. Don't even stress about it. Like
yeah,
we know how like creativity it comes, it goes, it'll be fine. And it's gonna be amazing. I
yeah.
cannot wait to read both of them. I am available to beta. I'm just saying, throwing that back out there.
Hmm.
I have
Yeah.
you both down for beta readers already. Don't worry.
She said you thought I wasn't ready, but it turns out I've
Yeah.
been ready.
Look.
I've been ready. That's funny. So,
But I think both me and Katrina have book anniversaries this month, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes.
you do?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's take a moment to celebrate those before we move on to the main topic. But let's talk about it. Book anniversaries, they're so important.
Yeah.
Who's this
It.
first?
I think. I think yours is first. I'm not
Mine's
sure.
is the 17th.
I'm not even sure when mine is. I feel like it's around that time as well.
Yeah.
It might be the 18th.
We're celebrating the same week.
Let's just give each other some claps.
Woo.
That's so
Oh my
exciting.
god.
So y'all gonna get yourself something special, like a donut or a donut or a cookie. Let's see what's on my mind right now.
A donut, or a cookie.
Uh, I definitely want to celebrate this year because I didn't celebrate that much when it came out just because I was so
Hmm.
focused on getting it out. So I definitely want to like do something to, even if it's just buying myself like a nice meal or something, stick a
Yes,
candle in it, you know.
I think that's important. Yeah.
definitely treat yourself. 'Cause life is short. I'm learning that now. Like, I want it. What Ariana Grande say, I want it. I got it. Like, just treat yourself. You accomplished one of the things you wanted to do. I know. I'll probably get something sweet that day, like just to treat myself too. But then later that week is my wedding, so then that's the rest of my treat, and then yeah, so a treat that day, and then getting over the hump of getting married.
We love it. We love to see it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important to celebrate these. My bit of advice is to celebrate these important moments. And I would
Yeah.
like to think that that's good advice. So now you
Yeah.
see what I'm doing here. Now
Ah,
that the coffee is kicking in and I'm firing on most of my cylinders, let's talk about some bad author advice. The main topic for today is bad author advice. The reason why I bring this up is because it just feels like uh, with the more social platforms we have, the more opportunities people have to share things, resources, advice. And I think there's so many people that are sharing some really great things like Art Breeder for doing
mhm.
character composites and this one tool that's helping you kind of figure out a word when you can't think of a word, you can just type in word that also means sunset or whatever, and it comes back with a
Mhm.
word. Those things are so cool and great. And I think there's some other advice that's also good, but then you have the other side of that coin of people talking
Right.
shit, knowing that they won't get hit on the internet and dispensing with some bad advice. So Let's talk about it. What to you is bad advice? Who wants to go first?
Well, first and foremost, I think the worst one is write every single day, because
Yeah.
yeah, I think we've established that before that that is
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic for many people. So
Mm-hmm.
that for me is definitely one of the easiest ways. Like if you take that advice like to your heart, that's one of the easiest ways for you to just go down that like slippery slope of just beating yourself up. Like, oh my god, I should be writing.
Right.
I
I
agree.
have to agree with that. Yeah. I think that was, I'm trying to think that I don't, thankfully, I don't think I've gotten too much like bad author advice, but I've heard that one and hard no. Guys, like if you feel compelled to write every day, cool. But writing every day, like it's just it's not for everybody. Don't I feel like sometimes authors like they hold themselves to that standard of trying to write every day. Then when they can't get it done, they're really upset. Like it's not that deep. Like as long as you meet your deadlines, you get your projects done. We not writing every day here. And Amanda, you have what, like 3-4 books now? Are you writing every day?
Ooh. So two two books in the series plus a short story, and then
Hmm.
by the end of this year, I'm hoping to at least have 3 books.
2 short stories because you did the other anthology too.
Right. So
Right.
I'll have 4 books under my belt at
Right.
minimum by the end of this year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't write every day.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, one of the hardest things about doing this rewrites is that I know that because I have this deadline coming up, I will have to do it every day. And I
Hmm.
think that it's difficult because I don't, but it's also rare. I know that I have the capacity to, if I put my
Right.
mind to it and I'm like, this is what I have to do to meet my deadline, I can do it. But I end up being so tired at the end
Yep.
because I have a day job. I write. I think it would be different if my full-time job was like I was an accountant or
Right.
something that wasn't writing. I'm a writer by day. And
Hmm.
so I'm basically, if I write every day, I'm writing all the time. And I don't want to take the joy away from it for myself. And I don't want to feel like it's a burden when I come to the page. And that's what happens for me when I end up writing every single day. I'm just going to keep it real. Like,
Yeah.
it starts to feel like a job. And in
Yep.
some instance, if you want to be successful as an author, you have to treat it like a job. But
Hmm.
I think that there's treating it like a job and having a discipline of having a schedule that works for you
Right.
and having a planning out when you want your book to come out, having that deadline, doing all the businessy aspects of it, but still enjoying creating.
Hmm.
And then there's treating it like a job and forcing yourself to do something every single day and not taking a break after you finish the first draft and jumping right into rewrites and not taking a break when your book is with your editor and jumping straight
Hmm.
into something else. Like if you're not taking breaks, baby, you're gonna burn out and you're not gonna last very long.
Yeah.
Like in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, Stephen King might feel differently, but Homeboy has been writing since the 70s, and a lot of that time
Yeah.
he was on drugs. So
Right.
Yeah.
tough person.
Right.
Indeed. Yeah.
I don't know. I think my submission for bad writing advice, hmm, is I think show don't tell. You know,
Hmm.
I think that's starting to be one because I for a while just kind of blindly went, yeah, show don't
Right.
tell, da, da, da. But then you have to realize that you have to do. It's not show don't tell. It's show and tell
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
because how can I show you this magic system if I haven't
And not so.
explained it?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
I
know?
think with that, it's almost like a overused like cliche to say among writers. Like I feel like people just throw it out there. Yeah, show don't tell, show don't tell. I'm like, do you even know? Like, not what it means, but like, have you applied it? Because clearly it is show and tell. Sometimes you show and sometimes you don't
Yeah.
tell. Sometimes you tell and you don't show because you're gonna show a little later. Like
Right.
there are, it's not just cut and dry, show don't tell. This is bad because you didn't show the readers what you meant. You only told it, or like it. Yeah, I can see that.
Right.
That it becomes very annoying sometimes when I hear the show don't tell because it's definitely like
Yeah.
a mix of both. Sometimes it's one and not the other. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's a matter of figuring out what works best for you and
Hmm.
making sure. I think, the advice is put in place so that people aren't just sitting there info dumping and then
Right.
writing, you know, Amanda was mad at her boyfriend and he was scared. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you can show that
Right.
in a way of how do people react when they're angry. Maybe in my case it's gritting my teeth and I'm clenching my fists, and maybe
Hmm.
he's cowering or something. But then when it comes to like, you're introducing this new world, whether it's in our modern day world or another thing, you do have to tell us what that looks like, because
Right.
we're not going to know. So I
Clearly.
think it's finding that balance. Find the
Right.
balance between show and tell, I think, is much better advice,
Hmm.
I would say.
Yeah. I
What
I
about
feel
you?
like a lot of really good writing advice like has the potential to become bad advice when people kind of think that it's this rule that can never be broken, and like
Mm,
you just kind of
Hmm.
put yourself into a box because like most of the advice that like I've seen in the it usually comes with this disclaimer that's like, this might not work for you. So, like take it with a grain of salt, or know when to apply it and when to kind of break the rules. So I feel like
mm,
a lot of good advice could still be bad if you don't know like when to be like,
Hmm.
maybe this doesn't work all the time.
right. Yeah, that's a good point about people feeling like the advice is something you always have to adhere to, and there's no room for nuance or having your individual style. Um, I think that's also something that's maybe bad advice too. Is when you're adopting your own style, not doing
Hmm.
certain things. Like, I think we're kind of going through the whole never start a sentence with and but. I think we're moving away from that.
Yeah.
I am always starting my sentences with and but. Like,
Because sometimes it's a dramatic pause and the characters
yeah.
start to get, yeah. Sometimes you
Yeah.
need it, guys.
Yeah. Well, and even in professional writing, I was working on something for a webinar at work the other day, and I started a sentence with but, and nobody said anything. And
Yeah.
we use, AP style books at work, and my boss was like, cool, let's see the next draft. Like that was not, in an area he had an issue with. So
Hmm.
I think that's also maybe some bad grammar advice. What about you, Katrina? What's a bad piece of bad author advice or writing advice?
I don't know. I don't think I'm trying to think. Some writing advice where I was just like, no. I don't think I've gotten too much bad author advice, thankfully. I surrounded myself with really good people. Um, I don't know. Of course, like there's the few that's like I see all the time, like the show don't tells and the the and the bud and the grammar rules. Um, but I don't. Thankfully, thank God, I don't think I've gotten any really bad author advice.
I think, okay, so hmm, I think some of the advice that I've gotten that may or may not be bad, I'm just going to rattle it off. So one
Hmm.
is don't, when you have a lot of characters in your book, try to avoid having them all, their names start with the same letter.
Okay.
I think it depends, because we've all seen Charmed, right? And all them
Right.
girls they start with the same, and we know who's who.
Hmm.
So I think it's more like if your characters are maybe in the background, don't have it start with the same letter because if they're background characters, you do need it, and you need to distinguish them at least a little bit.
Right.
But if you have main characters and they're like Penelope and
Thank you.
Pretzel, or better,
Penelope and Pretzel.
I think it should be fine. I think another maybe bit of bad author or author writing, it's all kind of the same in my mind, is like when people talk about using, this is one, I think it's bad advice, but y'all might be different, is using pop culture references in your works when you're writing contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument against it is that your work will feel dated when people read it, say 50 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
My argument for it is, first of all, it depends on how steeped in modern culture your book is.
Right.
But it also, I think, helps to really fill out the world that you're writing. And of course, we've read books, like we are still reading The Great Gatsby 100 years later.
That is true.
That talks about the Jazz Age and makes these
Yeah.
references. And I think that if people are reading it, like I specifically call out Charmed in To a Stare with Love. And if people are reading that, when people are reading that book
Mm-hmm.
20, 30 years from now, they can just look it up what Charmed was if they don't know what it is.
Right.
And they can look up these artists and they can look up, whatever. Like, I fully plan on expanding Funnel Cake, which was the short story I wrote for Girls of Might and Magic. It's going to be it is set in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
There is going to be a scene where my two, Quincy and then her friend Selena, are dancing in a discotheque, and they're going to probably be dancing to like Chic or Donna Summer or something. There's probably going to be people who are reading it who don't know who they are. And you know what they can do? They can Google it.
Right. Yeah, it's I've heard that. I think it's a little not silly because, like you said, we read The Great Gatsby. Bridgerton is like a thing, and people love the Victorian Regency era. So I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with the pop culture references. So what if the book becomes dated, or like that's the point? Like the book, you want the book to kind of tell the story of the time that it's in, because people do that with fantasy. If there's a certain song the characters are dancing to, or the character. I think in Heavy is the Head, Khaila talks about this like centuries old song that starts to play as like a love dance, a love lore song. So I don't. Yeah, no, I do think that's a little. I think maybe they're referencing maybe the number of pop culture references, but having pop culture references itself is not. That's yeah. Well, that's like the expectations people put on authors, I think, are a little silly sometimes. Like they get a little out of hand. But
in a lot of cases, I feel like the pop culture references just help add to the setting. It just puts you more into like the setting and the time period and that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And going back to what you said, Katrina, about expectations on authors, I think that that's a great point, because one of the other things I wanted to talk about that's not just writing advice, but that's overarching author advice, is this propensity for authors to kind of, for lack of a better term, shit on authors who don't have a lot of money and who are having to do things on their own, having to make their own cover in Canva or whatever program, and having to edit their books on their own and lay out all of that on their own, and saying that the book is just categorically shitty based on those things,
right,
not even the story, the book itself. And while obviously the preference would be that these authors get professional editing and covers,
it's expensive.
It's not always feasible.
Yeah, right. That's a very real part of authoring. Yeah. And it kind of makes me not upset, but I kind of get like bummed out when I see it done on like social media, or like
Hmm.
I'll see someone say something and I'm just like, you don't know what goes into having to create this piece of art and then to release it. To be an author, I feel like, yeah, we're creators, we're artists, but it's very like you're vulnerable. Like you
Yeah.
sharing your art with the world and hoping that they enjoy it. And then
Yeah.
for the feedback to come back and it's like people are shitting on it because, the cover is ugly, or I don't know, some of your I don't know, you said something awkwardly here. Where's your editor? It's like, do you know these things cost thousands of dollars? Like sometimes like it's expensive.
Right.
So please, like, be a little kind. It's okay if you didn't like it. Just be a little
Yeah.
nicer about it.
Yeah, and I think for me, if you're that pressed about the quality of the book, then maybe provide resources for people
Yeah.
because you
Right.
don't know a book that may be an author that doesn't have the coin. It could be the next like best book that somebody's read. Right? We
Yeah.
always kind of say like there's a book for everybody, and maybe this book that is not quality, or let's just say not professionally done. I think that's a better way to look at it. Um, Maybe that book saves somebody's life. Maybe that
Right.
book becomes the next blockbuster film. We don't know. And so I think instead of having this when authors, my face when authors don't do professional stuff, instead of doing
Yeah.
that, maybe, point them to resources. Maybe
Right.
Yeah.
if you are an editor or if you're a designer, let them know, hey, I'll work with you. It's your
Hmm.
first book. Like if it's your first book, just your first book, and you don't have, I'll work with you on some payment plan or some whatever to help you
Right.
make your book shine. I think that's just being a
A
better
decent human being.
community. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
better
Mm-hmm.
community member. You know.
Right.
Yeah, I think some people don't really realize like that there's such value in community, especially in
Hmm.
the indie author community. Like, we
Hmm.
just try to lift up each other however we can. But some people are
Yeah.
just stuck on being negative Nancy's, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, we have to do it because, the trad girls are all lifting each other up. The trad girls are all friends and are all, you know, caping for each other's books as they should.
Right.
But like we have to form a community, and it's even harder for us than it is like let's
Yeah.
just be real. It's harder for to be an indie author than it is traditional, especially if you end up being the traditional author
Right.
whose book gets picked as the girl of the season.
And it's harder to be an indie author of color. And it's
Yes.
harder to be an indie author of color and you're female. And it's harder to be an indie author of color if you're non-binary or not cis. It is, yeah. The list goes on
Yeah.
because it's just the frustration I see sometimes, like online in the author community, or like even in myself when I see the things happening online. It's just, it blows my mind. Like it's just, sometimes I have to just log off because I'm like, this is like not it. Like this is I need a break from social media today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I bring this up because I saw. Oh, okay, that's my share. It's rickety. I bring this up because I saw a TikTok the other day of somebody that was posting like that, and I think it's also part of that whole indie versus traditional, and the idea that traditional books are more professional, are always good. There's never any errors. I have
And that's a
seen
lie.
layout errors in like Neil Schusterman's book. I've seen
Hmm.
typos in like other traditional books. I've seen covers that just were not looking good that are traditional.
I've read traditional books where they had major plot holes. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, what is
Right.
going on? What the hell does this even mean? And it's like, people rave about it. And I'm like, are you raving about it because it's a traditionally published book and you know, like the author is like big shit? Because I've read tons of self-published indie author books that were better than this, and people are shitting on it because it's in like, It's
Yeah.
almost like, so if I say I'm traditionally published, y'all gonna feel me now? Like,
Well, look, it's also let's also not act like the traditional industry has not published some fucking turds, okay? It's not like this is an industry that did like a book about a NAZI romance got bought at auction and like people were hustling to try to buy it, okay? Books with romance between racists and other people hustling to buy it. That
yes,
Bad and Bougie book that just got pulled, but that Bad and Bougie book about trap feminism written by a white woman
Mm, mm-hmm.
with
yeah,
Teen
I saw that.
Davis.
Yeah.
That's was going to be traditionally published and then they pulled it, thankfully. But like, let's not act like this industry is the gold standard here because it
exactly.
is in some cases trash.
Hmm.
So we
Yeah.
can't like I think we have to stop comparing our as indie authors, you have to stop comparing our shit to like trad because and
Hmm.
in terms of them being up here, up
Right.
here, and we're down here. Like that's not the playing field's starting to level,
Yeah.
Yes, they
you
are.
know.
Especially because too, indie, publishing your own work, whether you're an author, an artist, is becoming more accessible. Like there's so many platforms. Google is a thing. Like you can find anything you basically need to kind of help yourself along the path to publishing. Our community is crazy helpful, like literally, like y'all are some of the best people ever. um
Mhm.
so yeah, so I think the playing field is definitely starting to level out. I think that some parts of, like, I guess certain pockets of the community still got to catch up, and that's okay. Like everyone's not going to be on the same level at the same time. But yeah, no, I have to agree. I think things are starting to, because there I've read some really badass indie books to stare with love. I still got to get Crossroads.
Heavy is your head, love and war. Crossroads. Right, right. You know, and like, what was it that book? The Atlas Six. That was indie,
Mhm.
and that whole fairy tale situation with
Oh,
that
that was
author.
indie.
It was indie. It blew up on TikTok.
Uh
The
huh.
author didn't even know it blew up on TikTok because she was fully having a baby. And I
Oh
guess her
my
husband
god.
called her and was like, "Yo, have you like looked at your sales recently? This
Uh
got
huh.
like a huge uptick because it went like,
Yeah.
TikTok viral." And then the industry girls saw and went, "Oh shit, this is gonna be a big money maker." So
Yeah.
it got republished traditionally, and now it's gonna be a
Wow.
TV show, and she's gonna
Oh my
produce it.
god.
That is. Oh,
Wow.
I just got chills. Like that is
Mm-hmm.
like that shit. Put
Mm-hmm.
that in the universe for all of us here.
Right,
The
and
dream.
she's an author of color, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also
Hmm.
like another, snaps for that.
Right.
But it's just that is I think the dream. So it's like that shit can and does happen. And
Hmm.
so again, indie is not less than. And I think we just have to stop um gatekeeping. That's what I'm looking
Yes.
for. This is what I'm
Yeah.
looking for sometimes. It's giving very gatekeepy behavior of, well, that's not professionally done, so it's not good. Therefore, we
Right.
cannot. I don't know her. You know.
Yeah. It's mean.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last bit of last topic, last bit of advice I wanted to talk about was about magic systems and what
Ooh.
y'all think.
Mm.
Because I did post a TikTok the other day, so I wanted to
Mhm.
get y'all's opinion about magic systems and rules and how many rules should they be, no rules, just vibes? How much vibes do we need? Like,
Mhm.
how many rules do we need? What do y'all think?
No, there has to be magic system rules, because without rules, it's kind of just like chaos, anarchy. Ah, if that's the vibe you're going for, then I mean, go for it. But no, there has to be some rules, even in like a softer magic system. I know like Heavy as the Head is a lot softer. Even though I guess No, I wouldn't consider it epic. Just because there's dragons doesn't mean it's epic. So it's a lot softer. But even then, there are still certain rules that the characters have to abide by. Like the dragons, they don't like silver, and what did I write? Oh no, this is a spoiler, so I can't tell you this part. But yeah, there are rules that you have to abide by, whether you're telling high fantasy, low fantasy. There's some kind of construct to how the magic system is working and what it can and cannot do.
Yeah. I was gonna like yeah, like, I think like even with soft magic, I feel like you should at least have some understanding of how your magic works and make sure that your reader
Hmm.
understands how it works. In Land of the Gods, I have at least two magic systems where I am right now, and there's like alchemy, and then there's magic that comes from the
Ooh.
gods, and so like I am trying to make sure that I understand fully how
Hmm.
that works, and you don't necessarily have to go in full detail in the book, but I think as long as your readers know, you can do this and you can't do this. Like I don't think you have to go like too like, extreme in how it works. I feel like I know like with Lord of the Rings, the I don't think the magic well, not that I know of, I don't think the magic system is like that like fully defined, and people just vibe with it. So
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. I, I do. I think there needs to be rules. I said that um, there needs to be rules around specifically what the magic can and cannot do,
Hmm.
right? And what the not just the magic, but what the person wielding the magic can and cannot do. Because if you tell us that they can use magic for anything, where's the tension? Because they can just magic their way out of any situation. They can use a spell to make themselves 10 times stronger so they can beat their foe. But if they can't do that, then that's where we get the tension. And I think that obviously you don't need to explain every single little detail, like the mechanics of how a spell works or whatever. But I think saying like no personal gain, or saying powers are tied to an element and everybody only has one element, they can cast spells and potions, kind of borrowing, but it's like a limited time thing. um but their elemental magic is just free flowing, it works. Or even the whole like certain powers being good or bad, right? I think if you like in this in the House of Transcendence, what magic is considered good and bad plays a role in terms of who the villain is and what they think and why they feel certain ways about it. Because necromancy is traditionally in pretty much every magic system has been considered to be uh, evil, you know. And so, how does that look when you have a situation where magic, for the most part, is just it's about intention. It's not about evil, the power being inherently good or bad. Things like that are good to know because again, it helps with tension. But you don't have to explain the physics of how telekinesis works.
yeah,
You
yeah,
Please don't. That's
yeah,
boring. That's actually boring. Get to the fun stuff.
yeah.
right, right. Yeah, I don't need to know. I just think, who is it? This book, Silk Fire is in Kyla. I know that you've seen this one, right? Silk Fire.
Have
Have you all seen this book?
I don't think I have, unless you sent it to me and I
This
forgot.
is the book. Okay, this is the book that got the review of the century.
Ah,
The
I
review
saw
of
the
the
I
century.
saw the review. I didn't see the. I
You
just
didn't see
read
the
the
book?
review.
Okay. Okay, Katrina.
Now I need to know. I'm interested.
If you look up Silk Fire and you look up reviews, specifically on Twitter, you'll probably get
Uh-huh.
to it faster if you do it on Twitter. Um, it's a book written by, I think it's uh I don't know if they're non-binary, so at this point I'm going to use they them pronouns.
Hmm.
The author's name is like Zabe or Zebi Kalor, and they released their or are about to release their book. It is called Silk Fire.
Mm-hmm.
and it follows it's like a world where it's a matriarchal society versus patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's like a direct correlation between our patriarchal society and theirs. So basically, all of the power and kind of views that uh, happen in this world, with men being having the
Right.
power that they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this world, women have that. It's kind of that same thing, right? Um, and so this guy, the main character, he's a courtesan, which is, if you know, like in history, several levels up above somebody who is like a sex worker, because
Mm-hmm.
they're somebody who's charming and they're educated and they're not just there for a one night thing. They're a companion
Right.
to these people in a lot of ways. Um, and it's a revenge story. He's trying to get revenge on somebody, and there's magic, and I think there's also dragons, and there's just different kind of whatever. But the review, basically, the person, when it came to the magic system, said that they had no idea what was happening with the magic system, because, and it felt like the author didn't either. Like they basically said, like, I felt like the author did not know what they were trying to do with the book, with the magic, with the plot, all of it.
Yikes.
If you read the review, it's not a bad review, right? Because
Uh-huh.
I don't think a review that is calling out the issues in the
Honest.
book is a
Right.
bad review.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honest review. But the reason why people are going up for it is because it's a very long review. It's very well written, and the author of the review is bringing in like historical receipts, specifically of the courtesan stuff. Is bringing in like, this author said that they were inspired by Ursula K. Le Guin and this other author, and I can kind of see that, but also no, because like it is a good time.
My God.
You
Wow.
should read the review. You really should. It's a ride.
Yes,
Yeah, I have to now. That I like. Wow.
right. And it's the author has also been accused of like anti-Asian sentiment because of
Oh
some of
wow.
the things in the book, the
Mhm.
reading a bit like fetishy of
Mhm.
Asian culture, and even I think the cover. The cover's nice, but I think even the cover is a
Yeah.
little
Mhm.
on the fence. So um, that review, even though nobody wants to have a review with somebody that is like a review totally picking apart your book, I would say if somebody left that kind of review for my book, I would have no choice but to stand. I would just be like,
Well
do
said.
you want to be a beta reader? I would
Right.
honestly reach out to them and be like, do you want to be a beta reader? Like
Yeah.
I see all this feedback. This is very honest. You know,
What is the name of the book again?
Silk
So
Fire.
fire. Yeah.
So yeah, I would absolutely. And the other thing about this author is that they went into defense mode and very much like, well, you just don't understand.
Mm.
You just don't understand the magic system. You just don't understand the world. You don't understand what I'm doing. And that's should you be doing that to your readers? No,
Yeah.
No.
no.
A lot of people don't like the book.
And I don't know if I think it was coming from a place of like I really wanted to like this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On paper it sounded good. I wanted to like this. There was potential, but and I again, with that kind of review, I absolutely would be like, would you want to beta read for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this, you seem to
So I
maybe
can
have some,
correct. Yeah. Right.
yeah, some good ideas, and in the future you can help me cultivate this to be better. But I just think another, bit of bad advice is to go into default mode of like, you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't help me understand.
I don't know. I mean, we've talked before, right, on the show about how authors should react to reviews. and how it shouldn't be attacking readers. It shouldn't
Mhm.
be, calling them out. It shouldn't be going into that defensive mode of like you just don't understand. At the very least, you shouldn't do that on me. I'm not saying you can't just walk around your house and be like, who do they think they are? Who I'll show you. Like
Right.
keep that private.
Yeah.
Keep it in the group
Don't take it
chat.
publicly.
Save it
Yeah.
for the
I
therapist.
I just saw a tweet that said someone said that they removed the book from their to be read list because the author repeatedly kept saying that his book is intentionally written to be too complex for stupid people who read young adult fantasy. And I'm just like,
Oh, wow. That's not nice. Wow. Why
yeah.
would you even say that? Like, I don't get. I just don't.
Like, why would
Yeah.
you put that out into the world? Like, do you not see how that works against you by saying something like that?
Mm-mm.
Amanda's face is exactly how I feel right now.
I mean, just the implication that way if you read young adult, you're stupid, or you're unrefined. Again, it's all of these rules and
Yeah.
ideas of, um, look, do I think if you only read young adult that I wouldn't say if you only read young adult, I would absolutely not say you're stupid. I would say you should probably expand the books you
Hmm.
read because you're missing out. But it's
Hmm.
not a matter of being stupid. It's just, I think for some people, young adult books tend to be a little bit easier to read. They're a little bit quicker.
Hmm.
Um, and that's it. I'm not going to say that they're more simplistic. I'm not going to say any of that because they're not. They just, some young adult books are maybe a little shorter. Maybe they're a little easier to read. And if you're busy, if you're listening to audiobooks or something, maybe that's
Hmm.
what you need. But I
Right.
will say then you should still just be expanding your repertoire because there are a lot of books that aren't young adult that are good.
Right.
Um, but like bashing your potential reader, babe, bro, if you no, let me not say bro, honey, if you want any kind of readership, if you want any kind of fans, if you want people that are gonna follow you from book to book to book, you should not be talking about people like this.
Yeah. Who did like? I wonder if he like ran that by anybody before he just like Twitter fingered that like that. Like, do you have
Probably not.
friends? Like, you don't have people you can vent to just be like, this is some bullshit, and then go to Twitter and be like, thank you so very much for all of your kind words. Like,
Probably not. See, that's the problem, and that's also the real conversation about
yeah.
a lot of this is that once again we find ourselves saying the importance of having a writing community, the importance of
Hmm.
having friends in the game who are writers at any stage of their career is that they can help you off the cliff with this. Because when I got bad reviews for To a Stare with Love, I took it to my writing friends, and they were just like, yeah, this stuff happens.
Yeah.
Uh, Sometimes bad reviews can actually make people want to read your book more because they'll be like, well, what's all this fuss about?
Right.
And then I had other friends who were like, okay, so who do we need to run up on? And, you know, talking about, oh, hey, girl.
Mm.
And talking about how, oh, hey, Montrez. Oh, here we are.
Yes.
And talking about how like they ain't shit, you know. But
Right.
that was in the group chat. That was not something that got put on main. That was not something I talked about. Most people, if I were to talk to them, wouldn't even know that I got
Hmm.
bad reviews or that it affected me, you know. And I think that that's just what you have to do. You have your writing community. You can talk about the highs and lows of this industry, and then
Right.
you don't have to embarrass yourself on social media.
Please don't embarrass yourself on social media. Oh goodness.
Right. Because at this point, we have seen so many authors come out and attack readers or something that it does feel like they don't have friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's almost like I get wanting to read the reviews. Like, who doesn't oh, I got another review today. You want to see the progress of your story reach more people. But reviewing is for the reader. It's not really for the author. So just stay in your lane. Like you said, asking, maybe reaching out to find out who that reader is to see if they want to beta read to kind of help correct things that they saw in book one or in the previous work that you did. That's cool. Like, but don't please don't start your your upset rant on social media about readers not understanding because they only read YA. That no. You sound like a pretentious asshole. You sound like a jerk.
Right, right. I mean, and that's the thing is that like that's whenever you put art into the world, it to a certain extent no longer belongs to you. And
Yeah,
if you didn't want to run the risk of people not wanting to read your work, of people feeling a way about the way that you did things, you just shouldn't put it out in the world.
don't release it, right?
Hmm.
hmm I had a
Right.
friend who was like, when I used to get when I got a bad review for Heavy as a Head, she was like, "No, it's fine." She was like, "If you didn't get bad reviews, I would think only your mom and your friends read it." So, like, it's part of the process.
Yeah, that's true. That's an because I have like when I got those bad reviews, people had said like, I think it's suspicious when a book only has good reviews
Right,
because then you do think that, all their friends read it and it's not somebody random. And
right.
so I think that to a certain extent, having a diverse amount of different types of reviews is
hmm
can be helpful. Um, and again, we're not talking about those reviews that are hurtful to the author because
hmm
there have also been books, right, that have been
Yeah,
reviewed, specifically books by BIPOC creators, specifically Black authors, where people leave reviews that are nasty, that want to
Yeah,
come to the author and their
yeah.
personage, or want to, say, I couldn't relate, it's not believable, blah, blah, blah.
I hate
Um,
those so much. Like,
Yeah.
you still shouldn't, as the author, try to come for them, but
yeah,
it, I think you can handle that in a more nuanced way of saying,
mhm,
that to me is like, then you go on social and release like a nuanced kind of
hmm
statement about, you know, people have said that you can relate, but at the same time, like as BIPOC creators, as a Black person, we've had to relate to books by white authors our entire lives,
yeah,
especially fantasy. So I get that, but um, if you read this with an open mind, you might find
Right.
that you can relate to it a lot more than you thought. And I think relating to something is also kind of overrated because
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like if you relate to everything, then you're not stretching your imagination. Like you're not learning about other people's experiences and understanding that what has happened to you and people
hmm
who look like you is not the only reality of this world.
Right.
And so I think that you have to go into things and read things that force you to recognize, and that you can't relate to, but that force you to recognize that there's more than one situation, reality, whatever.
And that's what books are supposed to do. Like, I feel like when people say the whole "I couldn't relate" is bullshit. Like, if I read a book about a mermaid, I'm not a damn mermaid. Like, I can't relate to Shorty in the book. I don't have powers. I'm not a necromancer. I don't live in the land of the gods. Like, I can't relate to any of these people. But the point of it is to learn about another perspective of the main character who is not you in any sense of the word. Maybe they look like you. That's a really key point, the representation part. But having
Right.
to actually like, oh, I couldn't relate. Yeah, you're not a fucking mermaid. You're not a necromancer. At least I hope not.
Hmm.
I've
Oh,
seen so much of that. Um, I know we hit the hour mark already, but I just want like, have you guys read any books by Rivers Solomon before?
Mm-mm.
not yet on my list. I
They
have the deep on my list.
their books always get those reviews. I don't like this because I can't relate to this. Like I read An Unkindness of Ghosts, and the main character is they're queer, they're gender fluid, they're
Mhm.
neurodivergent and they're black, and the story is very much about being all those things and about black trauma and that. And
Mhm.
so many of the reviews are just um, a certain group of people commenting that I can't relate to this. It's not good. It's too it's too this and it's too that. And I'm like, open your mind a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
it gets so frustrating reading the reviews.
Hmm. And I think that that also trickles into why the representation piece and then the relatability piece trickles behind the scenes, because I've also seen, I think I posted it to my stories, this guy talking about why having Black authors and BIPOC authors are important. Not authors, yes, but editors and
Mhm.
designers. Editors in this case specifically because um, he had an editor that he was, the character was speaking and they were speaking AAVE,
Mhm.
and the editor was trying to go through and like correct all of these things that were inherently like, if you, what's understood doesn't need to be explained kind of thing,
Right.
you know. And because the editor was I think white, or at least not black, or at least not steeped in AAVE, they were trying to correct the dialogue. And it's like, obviously in those cases you reject those suggestions, but it's
Right.
having somebody who has an understanding of that editing your book that can really help reduce that frustration.
Yeah.
You
That's a
know,
really yeah.
like that's why I specifically, when I was looking for an editor for my books, I specifically wanted a black editor because I know who my characters are. I know,
Mhm.
I know exactly how is, they talk and the slang, and obviously some things are regional, as we know, but I didn't want to have to deal with that whole like, okay, well, no, I'm using the habitual be here. This is,
Right.
there's rules to this. You gotta just
It
understand
almost
it.
makes me wonder, like, did the editor go in knowing that, like, clearly, like, dialects and accents are a thing. Like, no matter where you're from, where you reside, what your nationality, like, there are dialects and accents everywhere. So, like, did they go in like this is wrong? Like, this is not the right way to like. Are you a creative writer? Do you have friends outside of yourself who don't necessarily speak like you? Um, because like if you I don't know, I guess maybe it's a creative writing thing. If I came across that, and particularly in dialogue where you're not supposed to speak like the queen unless you are the queen. Um, there are contractions and people start with, weird letters, and the sounds like duh sometimes. Like
Mhm.
that's just how people speak. So
Mm.
yeah, that person didn't sound like a very good actor.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah, and it's like like you said, the regional thing I think also sometimes like when people are Southern or when they're
Hmm.
speaking fast, right? Having instead of saying talking, I was talking.
Yeah, I was
Even
talking.
now, like I don't say I'm talking. I'm like, I
Yeah,
was talking to so and so. I was laughing. I was drinking. I was doing whatever,
right.
and the G usually is off. So
It's
like
gone. Right.
often, when it would in the dialogue, I'll remove the G, and then
Hmm.
it would be frustrating to have to go back and have an editor put the G back in, and it's like,
Yeah,
no,
no, that's
girl,
ridiculous.
this was not.
Yeah,
If this is a one-time thing, I get the confusion, but no, like this is a consistent thing,
right.
and obviously a big rule for writing is consistency. If I'm consistently removing the G, that means you should leave the G where it is, which is on the floor.
Right.
Oh man. Well, we've gone over 10 minutes, so any last thoughts on this so we can wrap up? I know y'all have things you're doing today.
I am good. I'm after this. I'm gonna go eat something good. I don't know if I'm gonna have grilled chicken. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm hungry. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I enjoyed speaking with you guys as always. So,
Hmm. Same. Yes. Thank you for let's getting hopping on live with me and chatting about all this. And, I think given that Katrina is going to get married soon,
I know.
the next Lit Bitches episode I'm going to say is probably going to be in June. Unless, Kyla and you and I just do an episode in Katrina's absence. So we'll connect. We'll let y'all know when you can expect the next episode. But we will be more communicative ahead of time, y'all, if we're gonna take a hiatus. Because life just happened, stories just happened, and we're gonna be here for y'all though. Thank you for tuning in now or in the future if you want to catch the replay. Got some love for you, Katrina.
Thank you,
Here.
Andres.
So before we fully wrap, where can people find you? I did put links to y'all's link tree in the description, but where do you specifically want to be found, and what do you want people to find from you in terms of your works?
I can be found on Instagram at Katrina Writes _, on TikTok at Katrina Writes _. They're the places where I'm most active. I'm on Twitter as well. You can check out my link trees. I have a free story called Love Bites. It's on Wattpad. You can check it out. It's fun. Heavy is the Head is available on Amazon. And if you follow me and stay with me, you will find that I am going to release the cover for Heavy is the Head Kingdom Come on May 17th.
I am Khaila Gentle, or K Gentle Right, on Instagram, which is where I've been on a semi hiatus, but I'm definitely gonna be posting more frequently. So you can find me there, where I post updates about my books, Land of the Gods and Ryan and the River Nymph. Ryan and the River Nymph, you can get a free chapter in my LinkedIn if you wish to read that. I'm also on Twitter at Caribbean Blurred, and I'm on TikTok as well at K Gentle Right. So you can keep up with me on all of those socials.
We love it. And of course, y'all can find me here at Amanda the Author with 2 E's. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at Amanda the Author with 2 E's, and on Twitter at Amanda the Author with 1 E, due to the character count. You can find my books, To a Stare with Love and To a Lars in Desperation, in my Linktree link, which you can find in my description. You can also actually find those books directly in the description for this video. You can also find a link to Girls of Light Magic, which is the anthology that I co-wrote, edited, produced last year. And you can also find a link to pre-order Kindred Kingdoms, which is the anthology that's an epic anthology coming out in August, I believe, from the same group who did Girls of Might Magic. So if you love that, you're probably going to love this one as well. I'm going to be posting a lot more live type videos on my YouTube channel. That's kind of what I decided the other day. I did a live with Cian Lockhart, who wrote We Are the Origin, which comes out in June. And I realized I love live versus having to just sit and talk to myself and then edit it later.
Right.
So this is probably going to be the format moving forward. I hope y'all get into it. I'm into it, so that's it. And again, thank y'all for tuning in now or in the future, and we will catch y'all later. We'll keep you posted. If you follow us on social, you'll find out where we're